Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. This post right here is more informational on some of my videos. Some of the ones that people really don't get a lot of views. Really more informational and depth. And most of the time I be on point. Most of the time I be on point. You can go back and look at some of the videos I did from last year before the post before Hurricane Helene came. Certain things that took place before. Go over my video, the earlier one in November. The ones I posted in November, the first part of last year. And throw most of them I'll be on point. Um, I'm gonna speed this. I'm gonna speed this one up somewhat just a little bit because I got other things I need to work on this morning. Paperwork, bills I need to be getting ready to pay. Then I need to do for my son. I don't think America. A lot of people are clapping and applauding too early. Um, I don't think people see what's about to take place. See, a lot of people came up during the recession, but a lot of people can't handle the depression that's probably about to hit America. Um, and I'm gonna say this to the bike clubs and clubs that come into certain areas and try to purchase people's homes for cash. Uh, they really, to the people that are selling their homes, they're really not getting enough money. They have to go somewhere and start all over again. They're using it as a business standpoint for the bike clubs and car clubs to benefit from, but for the people who are selling homes, they're really not getting anything. They're having to take that money because they can't do that. Sometimes they can't even do their own home repair, so they go have to restart all over somewhere else with a little money they're given for their homes. So they're scammed out of their property, honestly, and they have to go somewhere else and restart. And with the way the economy is probably about to shift, AI is coming into place and replacing a lot of people's jobs. A lot of people losing their jobs based off of freedom of speech. Um, it's going to affect the black community even more. It's gonna push certain people back into rural communities they don't even want to go to. So if you have your home is paid for, it's been in your family, you need to hold on to it. People need to learn how to do their own home repairs so they can save money and stop using these insurance scams to live off of. That's a trick of the enemy. People who follow those guidelines, live by the ways of the world, really walk away from sometimes their inheritance, not only from the ones that their parents have given them, but also from the guidelines of you pay, go to the scripture. What it says enough inheritance. A wise man leaves enough inheritance for his children not to have to work. So sometimes those children will walk away from inheritance that their family had left into them and be scammed out of them because they haven't learned a skill or a trade to go in and learn how to do their own repairs. And like I say, I know about car clubs and bike clubs. I never really truly joined one, but I've been around many groups, many groups. Car in the car culture, yeah, I used to do my own thing. Street race, used to do a lot of that stuff back in the day. And when cars, bikes, let's see. Then I got into bikes real heavy. Probably I was in the bikes. I got into dirt bikes and four wheelers when I was in middle school. I had a Suzuki RM 500, early '90 model, blue and yellow. Um, and then I got a Blaster. Then I had a Warrior. I fell in love with four wheelers and stuff. I never could get a Banshee because people, man, shoot, everybody had Banshees. Their Banshees were getting stolen, so never wanted one of those. Um, then when I got into motorcycles, I had 98 double R 900. That was the first bike, black and yellow. Then I got a Suzuki 600. And then the last bike I got now had a ZX10. It's '08. That one was bought actually a purchase. An older lady that I was talking at the time purchased that bike for me. Yellow. Um, and I haven't been on that bike probably close to 9 to 10 years. When my fiance died, that bike was still put in storage. And I would come down and ride and stuff on the weekends, but my son was probably one or two. And my mom, she talked me off of that bike. She told me I didn't need to be on it because she knew how I used to ride. And she told me my son needed me to be present in his life. So I stopped riding. And that bike, and I got another car had been put in storage probably for over 10 years. And they were purchased brand new. One of my friends, he got deported and he left me his car. He left me one of his cars, '03 BMW 745. And then the older lady had purchased that ZX10 for me, that yellow one. So that stuff had been put up in storage. I could ride. Even when it came out in street racing cars, we used to race it without the headlights on Highway 40 back in the day. And then when the helicopters would come out, you had to know how to travel. But we used to always go straight to the airport because the helicopters couldn't interfere with air control. she taught some people something. And when it came down to riding on the bikes, some of the people I used to ride with, one of the guys we used to ride with actually was a state trooper. So he knew, when certain state troopers was going to be out there on the highway, we would ride late at night. And we could make it from Clayton to Wilmington Market Street in 50 minutes. That's how fast we used to ride on bikes back in the day. Even when it came down to cars and stuff, we could make it we could leave Raleigh at 10 o'clock at night and make it to New York in 5.5 hours. And that was even on a car. Once you get to the Jersey Turnpike, but shoot, toll poles, we were spraying the license plate tags with oil sheen. Yeah, so when the lights flash, you get a blur. Man, shoot, boy, I know how to ride the book. Yeah, you gotta do all that stuff, man. Back in the day, that's what I'm saying. So, but I had to learn how to, that was like I was 21, 22, 23, doing stuff to I don't think my mama even knew some of the stuff that I was into. But like I said, after my fiance passed, my mom, she talked to me and told me I need to be there for my son. So I put a lot of that stuff, put a lot of things up as boys should become men. And like I say, man, with this stuff that is going on in the country now, and people are not paying attention to the signs, I see how certain bike clubs and car clubs are purchasing. They're trying to purchase the homes so families don't lose their homes. I understand that, but it would be more beneficial for them to go in there and help these families do the repairs so they'll have a home so they don't have to restart somewhere else and lose it altogether. Because, like I say, man, people are losing their jobs. Families are going to have to come back together and bond and stick with one another in certain places. And it's going to affect the black community a whole lot. What's probably about to take place, man. They already talking about shutting the country down. And like I say, you have to realize people were tearing up their own communities when George Floyd passed away. Yeah, I know y'all hear that. That was that, yeah. Message. But and now people being disrespectful, and people are gonna, they're voicing they have freedom of speech, and certain people are paying. They're losing their jobs for not being supportive of the incident that took place with Charlie Kirk, and America's gonna pay. They're gonna make us pay. They are for not being respectful, not only because he was white, but you also have to realize who controls the dollar. Who controls that dollar? Yeah, people not paying attention. All the money in the world that floats around the United States don't have a single black person face on it. So who controls the dollar? So sometimes people celebrate too soon. And like I say, they have a way that they can show their true color. Like I say, a lot of people came up and got rich during the recession. But what happens when the depression kicks in? There ain't no money circulating around. What do you do then? They're already deploying the troops and stuff in certain cities, and it's necessary. So they're doing stuff, staging ahead of time because they know that's, like I say, man, new world order. With all the violent crimes that are going on in certain places, I don't know why people even trying to attempt to do stuff like that. You can't get away with crime. Facial recognition is everywhere. As soon as you go turn your phone on, sometimes you unlock your phone, that camera comes on. If people don't even realize you put your finger over your camera on your phone, it locks everything out because not only is it doing vocal recognition, it's doing facial recognition. So yeah, even when you go outside your home, it's everywhere. You can't, man. People can't go outside and do nothing. But them satellites are out there. Some of them they've been out there, but the people didn't have access to the information that they don't know. They won't isolate enough to observe, read, and study. So this stuff right here, man, we just following the steps of other countries. China been had facial recognition. You go outside your home, they know where you at, every location you at. So some of the stuff, the techniques that they've learned in the military and other countries, just coming back to the United States, and people just have to embrace it. And that some people they're not ready for it. So that's the reason why they allow certain people, young people, to go get these firearms and commit heinous crimes because they know they're gonna catch them. But who was promoting that gangster music? They got the young children believing that these artists out here living what they were rapping about. Music industry. Music industry. Just like Satan, he was the angel of music. So you have to be careful what you listen to, man. Sometimes you have to, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I love music. I love the beat, the bass. Listen to the bass of the music. It always moved me. Lyrics did too. And then when I started paying more in depth to the lyrics, it went from hustling music to people start using what they were hustling. Then it went to violent crimes. You know what I'm saying? And if you listen to it in depth, that mess gets in your spirit, man, and your soul. It changes who you are. I'm gifted and talented. I always work with my hands, so I always had, I made my money the right way. I never had to look over my shoulder. Uh, and that music actually, at one time, it motivated me to do things, to be productive. It did. But then when they start switching to people, the hustle, they went from hustling music, the motivation music, they changed it over to people start using and stuff, man. That daggone when people start popping pills and stuff, all that extra stuff, boy. It affected many people's lives, man. And some doctors, you go to the doctor's office based on your health insurance, what you had, they will give you anything you ask for. There was a time I used to go to my doctor. I could go in the summertime, tell him I had a cold. You get syrup, codeine. I didn't realize the price of the bottles back then. But I had Blue Cross and Blue Shield. I go to my doctor and get anything I just about wanted. And I was till I would go in there. I got a cold. Give me the best, you know, codeine and everything. I was like, so people like, you got syrup? I'm like, yeah, man. But I didn't realize at the time, hey, man, they ain't worried about that. We're charging that mess to my insurance company, my health insurance. So I used to always, my Sprite always takes dirty Sprite, boy, I'm trying to tell you. At that time. And it took a while for it started messing up my liver because I was drinking a lot of liquor at that time. Brown liquor. Man, that Paul Masson, boy, everybody knew that. Hennessy and E&J, I'm trying to tell you. And I ended up jaundice. My eyes start turning yellow, very yellow. And I went to the eye doctor one time, and the eye doctor said, no, your eyesight is good. You need to go get your liver checked. And by the time I realized my liver was messing up, I had to fall back from a lot of different things. And usually doing that, you shift from one thing to another to kind of wean yourself off of certain things. And so, yeah, I learned certain things not to play with, and then certain things it takes you even longer to get off of. So, and it didn't help. It really didn't help after my fiance passed, and during that time, we're dealing with grief, postpartum depression, uh, PTSD. They were saying after my fiance that I was stressed, and then the medicine they give you to deal with that didn't help either. Trying to get off of that. So thank God I've been for about, I say, a year and some change completely off any of that medicine that the doctor and stuff was giving me. But I had my body had to adjust back to normal. I say about the last year and a half. So it's been it's been a learning experience. And you also realize that some of the stuff that the medical field they'll give you is stronger than anything you can get on the streets. So getting yourself off of anything, I learned that too the hard way because I didn't, at one point I realized they give you your medicine based off of your weight. And my grandmother, boy, I remember my grandmother had, I don't know what kind of pills she had, but them daggone pills, them bad boys, man, make you sit down and not do nothing. You just look and looks, man, shoot, make you look crazy. You can't move your muscles, stuff like that. So I was glad when I got got away from stuff like that, man. But anything in life, like I said, you have to realize the pros and cons. And when you're trying to wean yourself from one thing to another, you have to be mindful, be respectful to other ones around you. And they have to know how to be mindful of you as well, too. Because a lot of people don't realize what other people are going through pain wise. Stomach pains, cramps, ulcers. Man, that was some pain. So I thank God that I made it through that. But just like I say, to get back on the stuff I was talking about, what might take place. People already losing their jobs, companies laying off. Price of inflation's already put people in hardships. People got greedy. And I try to teach my son, hey man, we gotta live within our means. We're not gonna be able to go out and do everything that we used to do. Sometimes we have to sit still so that when he gets old, he'll be able to do what he wants to do. Do what we need to do right now. And live on a bare minimum so he'll be able to do what he needs to do, what wants to do when he gets older. Teach him how to save a dollar. A lot of people will talk you into spending every dollar you got because they want to see you like in secret competition with you. See how much you got. No, man, that's the trick of the enemy. That's the devil right there. A lot of them go out there and spend theirs, and then they look silly later. Look silly later on down the road. So embrace that. Hold on to your own home. Teach your children and your grandchildren how to learn a skill or a trade so they can learn how to do their own home, build their own homes, do their own home repairs. Um, that's how you keep the cost down. That's why you have a lot of people that come here from other countries with those skills and trades, and it really don't cost a whole lot to keep a home up. You just have to learn that skill or that trade, do your own repairs. Um, and as a homeowner, homeowners can go in and pull permits and do anything they want to. They're just saying that they're gonna be responsible for the repairs, and once the inspector comes out and passes it, then they're good to go. That's all. Like I say, man. And then some things, depending on how you have your, homesteads way out in the country, sometimes however people have them listed, they do whatever they want to. And sometimes that America was built. That's how America really was truly built. They didn't have all them inspections and building codes and stuff to follow by. So sometimes certain rules are meant to be broken, save on cost, but sometimes they're trying to be in your pockets anyway. Let's see, man. Get into your word. Feed your spirit, man. Just much your natural. Be aware, be alert, and don't be tricked out of your position that God has blessed you to be into right now at this moment. Sometimes it's better just to be because the devil only knows what you speak out loud. He don't know your thoughts. Just like playing chess. You're not going to tell your opponent your next move. I say, man, I do these videos right here so my son, when he get over here, look how far we've come. It's been very therapy. It's like been like therapy. And he's like to participate and enjoying into them as well. So I hope everyone has a blessed day. Get into that word. Pray before you leave your home, so you know that you have that cover, the covenant, because it's that prayer life that's gonna strengthen your spirit of discernment and present you the presence of the Holy Spirit on how to move next. That's why it's important for people to have to. A true Christian, a true believer, has to isolate themselves and get away from certain groups like bike clubs. You have to get away from them. So true believers on most of those, and honestly, most of those females in those social clubs and bike clubs, stuff like that, ain't nothing but hoes anyway, man. They passed around, yeah, for real. You'll never find a true wife in that. Um, People in bike clubs, they might have a fallout with one person, or a female, or some money, and they'll jump to another bike or car club. So you don't have to be a part of one to be observant and see all that stuff take place. So I'm not knocking nobody who's in those, because like I say, I've been around a lot, and I dated some of the girls that were in those social clubs. Some of them still in them, but you still have to learn how to protect your home and your loved ones. And it's hard to do that when when you're moving around in groups. Everything's going to be on the table. So the best thing to do is keep your home life and your social life separate, just as you do your work life. But it's hard to do that if you're trying to be a true believer. So there's pros and cons to everything, and I don't knock nobody for what they do. But it's hard to be anytime you join certain groups, for sororities, fraternities, car clubs, bike clubs, Eastern Stars, or Freemason groups. Sometimes people take those titles more seriously than chasing and believing in the Lord. They only believe in what they see. Now, people don't recognize the presence of the Holy Spirit in their life, and sometimes until it's too late. Because at the end of the day, they always rush to the church for funerals. But while they're living, half of them ain't even living right. You know what I'm saying, man? Teach people how to save their souls. Save their souls. That sound like that daggone thing that's in the bike, and in the bike, what the Biker World movie say? Burn rubber, not your soul. For real, man. This thing is real out here. Embrace your loved ones. Tell them you love them, old and young, and really embrace the moments and say prayed up, because this thing could turn ugly towards the first of the year after the holidays, if not sooner. If not sooner. Be blessed. Be encouraged. Get into the word. Just much feed that natural.